Welcome back to another episode of the Retrospective podcast series where we are talking about Severance Season 2. Today we're diving into Episode 2, Goodbye, Mrs. Selvig. This episode expertly expands the narrative beyond Lumen's walls, focusing on how the fallout from Season 1 is impacting the characters' outie lives, while also pulling us further into the mystery of Lumen Industries itself. We'll dissect the key plot developments, explore the evolving dynamics of each character, and then maybe speculate on what these developments mean for the rest of the season. And please forgive me as we move forward. I'm getting over a cold, so that is why I sound like this. Thank you for joining us. The episode starts in the immediate aftermath of Season 1's climactic ending, where the overtime contingency threw Mark, Helly, Dylan, and Irving's innie selves into their outie lives. Episode 2 is all about showing how those brief glimpses of their innie personas begin to ripple into their external worlds. Mark's emotional state dominates much of this episode. At a family gathering, he blurts out, "She's alive!" a direct reference to his innie's realization that Gemma, his presumed dead wife, is somehow alive and working at Lumen as Miss Casey. The people around him misinterpret this outburst, assuming it's about his infant niece that had gone missing. This moment sets the tone for Mark's emotional journey in the episode, that he's trying to piece together what his innie knows without fully understanding how to access those memories. Later, we see Mark visiting Miss Cobell, his former boss, who is now unceremoniously dismissed from Lumen. Mark's desperation for answers leads him to seek her out, though Cobell's cryptic responses and manipulative tendencies only deepen the mystery. This confrontation, simmering with unresolved tension from their prior dynamic, adds several layers to both characters' arcs. Helena Egan, now aware that her innie publicly exposed Lumen's severance procedure, is scrambling to mitigate the fallout. As a member of the powerful Egan family, Helena represents Lumen's public face, but her father is unimpressed by her inability to keep her innie in line. The familial tension provides a glimpse into the pressures Helena faces as an Egan heir. Behind closed doors, we see her grappling with the video of her innie's speech. There's a fleeting moment of vulnerability, perhaps a crack in her staunch belief in the severance program, but she quickly buries it, doubling down on her corporate persona. The episode is setting the stage for a collision between Hella's public loyalty and her private doubts. Seth Milchick, always the company's enforcer, takes more drastic actions in this episode. He personally visits Dylan and Irving's homes, ostensibly to deliver termination notices. For Dylan, this visit is extremely harrowing, as it comes after the traumatic events of Season 1, where Milchick manipulated his love for his children to force compliance. Dylan's growing resentment toward Lumen is palpable, and Milchick's menacing presence reinforces how deeply the company controls their employees' lives, even outside the severed door. Irving, on the other hand, reacts with quiet defiance. We see more of an outie life, a solitary routine punctuated by cryptic paintings of dark corridors and a growing fascination with uncovering the truth about Lumen. Milchick's attempt to intimidate Irving feels less effective, suggesting that Irving's outie is beginning to channel the same rebellious spirit that his innie has. This episode excels in showing each character is torn between their innie and their outie selves, and how Lumen's influence pervades every aspect of their lives. Mark's journey in this episode is one of grief, confusion, and determination. The juxtaposition of his innie's discovery about Gemma and his outie's inability to reconcile it creates a tragic irony. Mark is haunted by memories of his wife while unknowingly interacting with her and Lumen. His decision to seek out Miss Cobell, despite knowing her manipulative tendencies, underscores his desperation for closure. The episode hints at Mark's growing awareness that the severance procedure is not just unethical, but deeply personal for him. Helena continues to embody the theme of duality. Her innie's rebellion in the Season 1 finale cast a long shadow over her outie's actions in this episode. The strained relationship with her father, coupled with her attempts to salvage Lumen's reputation, reveals cracks in her corporate facade. Helena's moments of vulnerability suggest that she might not be as unwavering in her loyalty to Lumen as she appears, setting up an intriguing internal conflict for future episodes. And Harmony Cobell. Her firing from Lumen is one of the most surprising developments of the season so far. In this episode, she's portrayed as both a victim of this system she is once upheld and a potential wild card. Her cryptic interactions with Mark hinted her continued obsession with Lumen's experiments. While it's unclear whether she'll align herself with Mark or act as an independent antagonist, her dismissal adds an unpredictable element to the narrative. So let's talk about some themes and symbolism. There are several recurring themes here, one being fragmented identity. The dissonance between innie and outie selves continues to be a central theme. For Mark, Dylan, and Irving, the echoes of their innie lives are beginning to bleed into their outie existence. The show asks profound questions about what makes us whole and whether our memories or lack thereof define us. Control versus resistance. Lumen's control over its employees extends beyond the severed floor. Milchick's visits serve as a chilling reminder that severance doesn't end when you clock out. However, the seeds of rebellion are clearly taking root, both among the innies and their outie counterparts. The burden of legacy is another theme. As Helena's storyline introduces the idea of familial obligation and the weight of carrying on a legacy, her father's disappointment underscores how much of her identity is tied to Egan's name and Lumen's success, adding depth to her internal struggles. So let's talk about some critical scenes here, one being Mark and Cobell's confrontation. This scene crackles with tension. Mark tries to extract information from Cobell. Her veiled comments about Lumen's goals and her personal stake in it raise more questions than answers, but the emotional undercurrent, Mark's desperation and Cobell's quiet manipulation, is done very well in this scene. Another scene is Helena watching her innie's speech. The raw emotion in Helly's plea for freedom contrasts starkly with Helena's composed demeanor. This scene encapsulates the series' exploration of identity as Helena struggles to reconcile the actions of her innie with her own beliefs. And we don't even have to mention the scene where her and Mark were playing tonsil hockey. In Irving's paintings, Irving's obsession with paintings, the dark corridors of Lumen, is both symbolic and unsettling, as it suggests that even outside the severed floor, his subconscious is grappling with the trauma of his innie self. So where do we think the show will go from here? Will Mark's investigation into Gemma lead him back to the severed floor, or will he uncover Lumen's secrets from the outside? How far will Milchick go to maintain control over former employees? And will his actions backfire? And will they involve a pineapple? Could Helena's internal conflict eventually lead her to question her loyalty to Lumen? In Goodbye, Mrs. Selvig, this is an intricate, character-driven episode that skillfully advances the story while deepening the themes. As the season progresses, the tension between Lumen's oppressive control and the characters' fight for autonomy is sure to keep us on the edge of our seats. So what did you think about the episode? Any key points you think that I missed? Share your thoughts in a discussion in the comments below if you're listening via YouTube or you see this on a Facebook post. As always, thank you for listening, and we look forward to bringing you more content in the future.